Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 278. Today is Saturday, May 25th, 2019, and I'm glad you could join me today. It's been a pretty nice day so far. Luckily, the Dear Sweet Lovable One, or I managed to convince the Dear Sweet Lovable One to fly out for the weekend, so yay! Long weekends for the win, so I get to send him back to California Wednesday morning. So, I'm looking forward to that. That shouldn't be too crazy. But he was like, now might be a good time to record. That's why we keep him around. So, I have my coffee, even though it's hot. But the fan's running, so that's okay. But the studio lights are on, so whatever. I'm sure it all balances out in the end. So, let's see, what should I start out with today? So, I might need to hurry up. So, I am taking part in the Stranded Roller Derby, and I've finished the first sock. So, pay no mind to this little end here. It needs to get snipped at some point. But I have finished the first sock. So, I was getting pretty nervous Friday as I was finishing these off. So, I have like feet of yarn remaining, but I did manage to finish them. If not, I could have probably subbed in like a red toe, and that would have been fairly similar. So, I think it manages to work out fairly well. So I have my little rainbow cuff, my blue heel flap, and then when I ran out of rainbow yarn at the end of the gusset, I switched to the blue. So hopefully my other ball is a smidgen shorter. There was absolutely no blue in the beginning of that one. But I should be cruising now on this sock. So I finished the cuff to the same point I did on the other sock, and I'm now working the heel flap of doom. I did have a chance to try on the sock, and so I found it to be interesting. So the way I knit my heel flaps is I go to the ankle bone, and so with 2 3/4 inch, that goes to my inner ankle bone, and it's 3 inches to my outer ankle bone, so whatever. But if I'm going to finish before the end of May, I need to knit a lot more sock. But I did cast this on Friday, and this is how far I got. So the rainbow is Mustache in the Martian Rainbow, and the blue is Sheep Dreamery in the Blue Jean Baby, which was a sock blank, a match sock blank. So I highly doubt I'm going to be able to see perfectly matched socks here, but whatever. So, it's coming along, but it probably needs more love than I've been giving it. There hasn't been too much knitting today. I did make banana bread. But, we may as well break that drought right now. What would it be? So, I need to hurry up and finish these. For some reason, I was confused about the start of Stash Dash, which is fine. I have to laugh a little bit because I guess it took the Knit Girls by surprise as well. So they didn't release a real video before I started. Maybe they'll release one after the fact, but none of the rules have changed from last year, which is fine. What would it be? It has worked out to what would it be, the spinner friendly option, which I am perfectly okay with, because that is knowing that my fiber takes up most of my stash volume, and most of what I kept out volume wise was fiber of the Stash in Exile. So I guess my intention is to spin the summer away. And there might be work on other stuff as it comes up. but would it be? I've been spending a lot of time playing with fiber lately, so this is fine. Would it be? And these are sort of the Rose City rollers. I'm going to call them close enough. It's sort of a hybrid Rose City roller with, would it be? Rose City roller and the Just Ribbing socks. That is my vanilla sock pattern, which is a 2x1 rib. But so far, so good. Super cute. I was entertained because it turns out my gauge on those socks are like 9.5 right now, so I must be stressed. It's true. Whatever. So, sadly, I did not get the job I interviewed for last week, so curses. I really wanted that one. But, just like, not too much I can do about it. Or not too much I can do about it now. Maybe past Molly could have done something, but future Molly's got nothing. So, the other thing is, what would it be? The other thing is my Inara wrap. This hasn't gotten a ton of love, but it has gotten non-zero love, and it looks like we're going to knit a little bit on it in front of you guys right now. Ooh, it's even a pattern row right now. Super fancy. So the Inara wrap is an Amba O'Brien pattern that I am knitting out of Canon hand dyes. The natural color is Naked Bruce, and the jewel tones are Leo, which is a merino cashmere silk fingering, which is super lovely. The weight of the yarns is slightly different from each other, but I'm just accepting. I'm accepting it as it is. So, what would it be? And I am currently in the 5th color block? Yes, I'm in the 5th color block of 12. So this project's actually been flying pretty quickly. What am I in denial about? Denial about whether or not I have the same number of stitches that I started with. Whatever. It doesn't seem like the pattern is finishing in the same spot, even though it is starting in the same spot, so I might need to count at some point just so that I don't have yarn usage issues. So I am probably close to the halfway point on the lace pattern on this one, and you can see the other blocks from there. So I start with the reddish purple, go to the dark green, go to the bluish purple, dark teal, and now I am in the straight up blue. And what's up next is the light teal, and then I will have used a little bit of every yarn, and then I will have big color blocks of the ones I've had small amounts for previously. So the whole shawl will alternate between these neutral blocks and color blocks. So not too shabby. The only one that hasn't been used yet is this guy, which is pretty close to this guy, but they're different, and you can see that on the screen. So this one is certainly getting bigger at this point, but it is pretty easy knitting, but I'll probably put it aside until I finish the socks, because the socks have a deadline at the end of May, and this is me doing extra stuff for the Stockinette Zombie go along. So what I didn't manage to do today or yesterday, because I was confused about the start date of Stash Dash, I apparently didn't check the internet before leaving the house, so I left my sweater in its bag. But this will be getting finished. I left a few inches of bind off on this guy. Whatever. Maybe like 3 inches of bind off, and then I will be done. So, not too crazy. And I'll have a walnut of yarn, and I don't know why I decided to do that. I forgot. I probably told you guys about it at the time. So, did I finish it now? I could. There's no reason not to. So this is, well, it won't be blocked, but there's only so much one can do. So I just totally spaced. You can see this is one cable. There's no extenders on this. It's a little bit ridiculous now, but such is life. So this is Breathing Space, which is a Varawalamaki pattern. I made a few modifications to it, including doing some more bust adjustments than what I've done in the past, if that makes any sense. And we'll find out when it's all blocked how that went. It is designed to be a well-fitting sweater in the shoulders and arms, and then very flowy and loose after you get past the boobs. So it has been sitting waiting for Stash Dash to begin, which I thought began. I'm waiting for the camera to catch up. How long has it been since this stopped working? Okay. Looks like it's better now. Sorry. The camera wasn't responding anymore. Hopefully that didn't have an awkward long empty spot. Oh, so Breathing Space is very nearly done, and I will finish it on the podcast for you guys because it's now Stash Dash. Would it be, I suppose that I could be forgiven for not knowing the school schedule in Mississippi, though it did mirror what was happening in Texas. So school is out for the summer here. This means that driving will be glorious until school begins. Glorious. Because suddenly people are no longer a slave to the school hours, and this helps sort of distribute traffic better, if that makes any sense. So while school is in session, too many people are on the same schedule, and that's bad. I was like, we need to spread this out a little bit. So that'll be nice when it occurs, which will be Monday. No, it won't be Monday. That's a lie. Tuesday. Even then, there might not be as many people out and about. It was very, or what would it be? You can tell when lots of people are going on vacation because I managed to go freeway speeds on the freeway during rush hour. That's when you know you had a good decimation. Things just aren't as crowded. And it was definitely super denseful as well, because it was just the case at some point I was like, is anyone even here? And I saw a few people as I was walking out the door, and I was like, wow. I guess I was distracted by work. So, what would it be? So I wish that I had finished it yesterday, but we're just gonna go with today and call it good. So I've been working on this sweater since December, so I don't think it really counts as knitting a sweater in 2019. It's certainly taken a pretty decent chunk of 2019 to knit. Most of the work that I got done on the sweater, I got done sort of in February. And then it languished for a little while because I needed to buy and spin more yarn. And then we found out about the silk shortage due to the trade war with China, and how all sorts of luxury things are not available to the knitting and spinning community, which sucks. So that I cleaned out Jen of Nest with her superwash merino silk. The green is mistletoe, and if you remember the epic, which was the sweater, I had originally spun the holly colorway, I think it was holly, which was a bright red, but it just bled bled like madness in my water. Just the water itself, it was just bonkers. So I realized I couldn't use it for a stripy sweater unless I wanted to be sort of an even pink tone. And I managed to dye 2 skeins of yarn with the red bleed off, so what would it be? So Jen ended up sending me the green free of charge, but it turned out that I needed like 12 ounces of green, well, in this case, 13 ounces of green instead of however much I had started with. So in total, I probably did have enough yarn to make the sweater, but I didn't have the right colors and the right proportions. So had I been more strategic about it, I think it would have been the case where I needed like 3 of like a blue and then done some sort of spin with this, but whatever, such is life. So this ended up languishing a bit. I think I had to be in denial for a long time. But it'll be okay. Because you know what I'm doing right now? Finished. So I like to sort of, on my last bind off stitch, sort of incorporate it into the next one so it makes a much more subtle join. And we're done. Off the needles. Yes! Amazing! Live finish on the podcast. Whatever. So, this is done, which is good. I will have to back calculate my yarn usage by going off of how much I have remaining, which is fine. We got it. In order to avoid scrutiny while traveling on airplanes, I use nail clippers as my primary scissors. I do have a small pair of like sewing scissors, but this is pretty subtle. So, check that back in. Oh, I have like 2 pairs. They're shenanigans. So, we are free. Free and clear with some random ends. So, ta-da! Looks like this is sort of squished. So we'll block that and hopefully that will, it's good and stretchy. Look at how stretchy that is. But tremendous amount of knitting, for sure. Oh, I suppose I should take out the lifelines for the sleeves. Maybe that'll be something that I ponder about changing. We'll figure something out. So, it is complete. So, I'm just like knitting on all my projects today. Obviously, a red t-shirt is not the best choice for this. It would probably be a tank top. So, okay. So, I'll have to, I don't know, I'll probably end up trying to block the sleeves a little bit wider and see how that goes, but not too crazy. First, finish a stash dash. So, it has got lots of space, and you can sort of see the diagonal of the hem, and then it's much longer on this other side, so it should be a fun sweater. And because of sort of this extra blue in here, it's not screaming Christmas. Which side's the high side? Whatever. I'll make it work. Or maybe I'm confused by the diagonal. I don't know. Seems like... Okay. Readjust. So, not too crazy. So, nice and flowy. It should be good, so. I don't know. Sorry, this is still healing. But it feels way better. So, hand spun, hand knit sweater for the win, all done. Something that I got to try on at SSK 2015, I believe. Owl Knit for You's version was super duper cute. And we shall see about how everything finishes on this guy once I get a chance to block it. But not too bad. So, hey Jigger. Okay. So, yeah. FO randomly. Because I was holding in reserve. So, because when I left the house yesterday I did realize Stash had started, I'm still working on this spin. So this is Corriedale that I received from Gloria at Rhinebeck, dyed and batified at Yarn School, and then I've been pulled through a diz at home. So I had 4 bats that I took back with me. This amounted to about 8 ounces of fiber. And I have been slowly spinning on this since January. But I did make some more progress on it, so you can see I managed to at least get halfway across the bobbin yesterday. Not too bad. And it does look like the ball is noticeably decreased in size. It's still about the size of my head, which probably meant it was bigger than the size of my head before. So this has sort of like a navy look to it with sort of like fuchsia and teal streaks, and sort of also like a purpliness to it that, as we know, the camera cannot capture. So, not too crazy. The plan was to have a giant plying session with all of my finished singles. Whatever. I guess my whole year of spinning will... Well, not quite. I did spin the green. But this will be pretty good. So, this is my Spin the Bin project. It's been going on for many more months than I wanted. Oh, whatever. I did bring a bobbin with me in case I wanted to do another project. So, I managed to hit a pretty good milestone on my fleece processing project. Whatever. So I can put my combs away. Yay. I even packaged them up and brought them upstairs, and then I placed them somewhere where I do not know where they are. But such is life. So, when I was talking to you guys last week, I was working on combing this blue, which has a decent amount of purple in it. And then I have my purple and my navy. And so these are 3 balls of top that I haven't yet combined on my hackle, but they are all done. And I have 13-ish balls of them. I then, after I finished that, ended up creating my balls of mediums. So what I did was, what would it be? There's some giant chunks in these, but such is life. So you can see the neps in them. And at some point you just can't get them out because it's so integrated into it. But these are from my combing waste. So what I did was I took my combing waste from the initial pass of making the top and I combed it a second time. I think I ended up finding out where my missing 15 grams was because I ended up having about 15 grams more of these mediums than I did before. Which I guess it makes sense. It's all coming from the same sheet, coming from Ginny. But here is my bag of waste. And this is like super duper waste. Foolishly, I decided to throw the weak tips in. I had like 12 grams of weak tips alone that I had pulled out before I'd started combing, which probably expedited the combing. So this will go along with this bag of waste, which was from the other stuff, and really what it'd be, this sort of gives you a sense of where this project was going. So this was purple, or these were purples that I was fairly happy with. This was the initial color that I ended up dyeing, that I ended up over dyeing with blue to make a teal color. I don't know how entirely it made it to be teal. And then this still has sort of the foresty green in it that I ended up over dyeing to make this gorgeous navy color. I'm really digging the navy. So these balls of top are probably going to be a little bit more green than what that other guy will be. And so what I ended up doing was I layered these. I need to have this be full brightness so I can see if it's even doing it justice. I don't know if it's doing it justice. So it's really gorgeous. It sort of gives me sort of the impression of like a midnight purple. So this has layers of the purple, the navy, and the blue. And with their powers combined, you end up getting this very gorgeous hackled top with all of these different colors in it. And then the tone differences sort of from the navy and the blue. The purple, the purple might just sort of be in between. But this is like super duper gorgeous, and this is about a third of it. So I was afraid I couldn't put any more on the hackle. It's probably unfounded, but I know that at the time. And yeah, so if you do a comparison between my mediums and the top, this is much more green overall. But still actually a fairly pretty color. I probably would have been happy without having it be navy. But if I make it more blue, I've gotta like it more. That's just the way I am. So these turned out very pretty, and they are going to be what's going on my wheel next. So which is why I have an empty bobbin. Whew, that was convoluted. I'll just say I'm nearly ready to put away the hackle, and I don't have any new fleece processing projects that I was thinking of. And probably what's going to end up happening is I'm going to focus on doing this sweater spin, and then probably do my other spin later. So as you can tell, this is sort of it's a very warm orangey brown color, and I believe it's all Shetland. That was sort of, I think, dyed in cloud. Oh no. I combed it as practice for combing way back, and so at some point you just have to spin it. So that's some of my early top. As you do. So, all this is saying, all of the combing is complete for Jenny the Fleece. I'm in the process of pulling stuff on the hackle, and it's gorgeous, super gorgeous. Really happy with how it's turning out. What I'm going to do is make that skein, Unfortunately, I packed away the other two skeins I ended up making along similar lines, but whatever, such is life. Let's see, what else? So, combining a hackle, spin, my waist skein. My waist skein is going to be a little bit bigger than the other ones, but whatever, such is life. And I think the next step in spinning is I'm actually going to do a 3-ply from the hackle waist, and that's going to give me a chance to excuse me. So that's going to give me a chance to sample what the overall thing is going to look like, because my plan was to have it be like a model 3-ply where I have this midnight purple, this purple here, which is sort of a lavender, burgundy, and green, and then this turquoise I ended up creating, which is probably the most solid of all of them, but I do believe that they all go together. But we shall see. That's sort of the point of having them all out. And that's gorgeous. So, getting close to the main part of the spin, and it sounds like that's going to be a pretty good stash spin. So probably filling up, or what would it be? So about each bag is about 90 grams. So I can definitely see a scenario where I fill bobbins up and then use a jumbo flyer or something else in order to empty them out. I'm not sure. Maybe I will fill up all 6 of my bobbins with this. I'm not sure. But I'm looking forward to that because that's going to take down oodles of volume in the stash right now. And then that fleece will finally be out of the stash, and I can knit a sweater, I believe. Should be good. So that's sort of the story there, is that there are a couple more intermediate steps, but it is looking very close to the point where I will start spinning all of these pieces and making a yarn finally. Or making the yarn I wanted to make all along. So, not too crazy. There hasn't been any spindle spinning. There hasn't been any yarny purchases. At some point I will need to make yarny, or what would it be? I will have to figure out plane tickets for SSK. I am assuming right now that I will be flying. And I do have my Lendrum box out, so it's definitely the case where, or there is a distinct possibility that I could pack my wheel in the box it came in. Unsure, but I did put down for wanting to rent a wheel. It's just, it sucks a little bit because, what would it be? You oftentimes can't get through all of the samples in class, so it meant furiously spinning and potentially missing lunch and awkwardness. So, but what would it be? There's just something about SSK and it's nice to be able to spin, so I may be bringing my own Lendrum and then I can just modify my choices from there, as you do. But since I don't quite know where I'm going to be yet, it's still in the awkward zone. So let's see. anything else. I still don't quite know what it is that I'm going to be casting on next. I guess I'm glad that I did cast off a sweater. Whether or not that's going to be, I'm thinking it's going to be the vitamin D, which probably will mean a lot of handling linen yarn in order to make it a little bit softer and slinkier. But it is here. It is a gorgeous color. Sort of lavenders, navies, and greens. And the lavenders definitely have sort of a bluish sense to them. So it should be lovely. I think they were trying to recreate blue bonnets, and I'm okay with that. The colorway's Lone Star from Claudia Hand Paints. So, what would it be? Soldier with a sample. But I'm feeling like that's gonna be the right choice right now. I think that's where I'm at. And then what I need to figure out next is whether or not anyone is interested in, or figure out if someone would really particularly like the waste from this whole process, for like bat add-ins or something like that. So it's definitely, like, at this point, what's left is neps. But it does mean I get to reclaim a bag, which I can use for filling with more beautiful fiber. So, not too crazy. And this ends up having all sorts of cool colors in it, just from the dyeing process and how it took the dye. It smells very strongly of citric acid as well. Because part of this I didn't end up doing a very good job of rinsing the fiber when I was done. So maybe I will take a picture and with all of the colors speaking through, maybe, and figure out if anyone would be interested. But it's definitely, yeah, I don't know, this just looks so weird. I don't know what I did, if I just wasn't aggressive enough with the dye when I started it. But the overall impression I get of it is great at this point. I'm glad it's getting there. So, I think that's everything for this week, so hopefully I will be able to keep giving Stash updates. I'll have to update next week with what my yardage ended up being, because that's going to take some counting to figure out, but shouldn't be too crazy. And we'll see whether or not I finish that long-standing spinning project, because it's the project that never ends. Or it's very odd for me to have a spinning project go on for so long. And, like, I'm enjoying it, too. I don't know, whatever. So, shouldn't be too crazy. The next time I record will be June 1st or 2nd. It just depends on how I'm feeling. So, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So, take care, guys. Bye-bye.